Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to the Town of Monroe Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting of April the 16th, 2026 at 7 p.m. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
This looks like an inland wetlands meeting when nobody's there. All right, so roll call. We'll start on my right.
Dominic Spargolino, alternate commissioner.
Ryan Condon, Commissioner.
Bruno Maini, commissioner.
Robert Westland, Commissioner.
Catherine Gallagher, Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Anyone online? Nobody we know?
Not from our team.
Okay, so then we have general public participation. If anyone online or in person would like to address the commission on any matters not on the agenda, this is the time to do so. Please raise your hand. Going once, going twice, 3 times. One's interested. All right, we go to public hearings. First public hearing, SCP 2026-01, file 1673, 508 Monroe Turnpike, has been tabled until May the 21st, 2026. Second public hearing, RAA 2026-01, file 1050, text amendment. This is going to be open. You have to do an announcement.
Yes, in accordance with CGS 8-7D, a public hearing will be held on Thursday, April 16th, 7 p.m. Via in-person attendees and hybrid, located at Town Hall, Council Chambers. RAA 2026-01, file 1050, petition application for a regulation amendment to amend the zoning regulations sections 5.4.3, 5.4.6, 8.2.3 R, and 5.5.2 D to reduce the required acreage for residential associated with mixed use. Notice was published in the Connecticut Post twice, once on April 2nd and again on April 9th.
Thank you. Kathleen, you have the exhibits.
Exhibit 1 is the application and plan set from the applicant. Exhibit 2 is the notice to the Council of Governments, the Department of Public Health, Aquarian, and notification letters to the adjacent towns. Exhibit 3 is the response from MetroCog. Exhibit 4 is the response from NVCog. Exhibit 5 is my comment letter from the Planning and Zoning Administrator. That's it.
Okay, so this is just a text amendment, though. We don't need plans or.
Correct. There's no plans. It's just the text of it, which is in the back of the text amendment. So they've provided you with the application, their narrative, and then the actual text changes they're proposing.
Do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners. My name is Stephen Shapiro, the applicant, 715 Main Street, Monroe, LLC. This is a text change, obviously, as Kathleen just described to you. We met on subcommittee, went over it as well.
Right.
If you so choose to pass this text amendment tonight, then we'd be back next month with full site plans and all the details and whatnot.
Right.
I think you guys are familiar with the rendering. Is it with anyone?
Well, not all of us.
Okay.
Brian, you haven't seen it.
So this is, that's the commercial on the first floor and then 2 stories of a residential above it. And again, we'd be back with, landscaping, lighting,
Yeah, the whole
all
thing.
that good stuff in a month. So in regards to staff comments, I have no problem with the changes there. One of the things that was mentioned was a minimum commercial area on the first floor, but the regulation doesn't allow for more than 2/3 residential anyways. So we have no issue with the whole first floor being commercial. Some, whatever you guys want to do. I think it would be weird having apartments on the first and second floor and then offices on the third floor of the building, but whatever's with the commission we're happy with. So happy to answer any questions here.
Okay, Kathleen, do you want to go over the changes?
Sure. My comments had to do with adding some footnotes to the bulk zoning table, referencing 523T3, which is their proposal of changing the bulk standards as part of this text amendment. If that's how we want to handle it. I think after reading this, I would prefer. All right, let's go through this a little bit big picture why they're here. They're here for a text amendment because our zoning regulations in a SCD MDD district only allows commercial and residential components if you're 15 acres or more. What they're proposing to do is to keep the residential the same. If you have a 100% residential building, it is still 15 acres or more in order for you to have that on site. If you are 1 acre or more, you can have mixed use, which is commercial on the bottom, residential on top. The reason why this is coming to light at this point is because by July 1, this commission has to adopt text anyway that allows mixed use to be developed as of right with only a site development plan application in our commercially zoned lots, which at the moment I'm interpreting as B1, B2, LOR, and SB2 districts. Because that is what's happening moving forward. You know, we have some potentially good projects. I believe 715 Main Street's actually in a business district anyway. This is going to be a lot that they're thinking about proposing that would be able to allow them to do that. However, one of their requests is that we allow them to add an additional half a story to our current B regulations. Right now, our regulations allow 35 feet, 2.5 stories. They're asking for 3 stories. And I don't know if you mentioned the height might be a little bigger in these regulations.
Yeah, I think those are
I think
older.
you said
So they're like 2 years
42.
ago. I'm happy to leave it at 35. I don't want to change it.
So in this text change, it says 3 stories and 42 feet. I think we strike it, actually. I think we just take it out of the regulations altogether because they're going to come in for an SDD, and as part of their STD, they can request relief from those regulations and ask you to change the height requirement. And I say, let's do it as part of that in cases that make sense, not as part of the regulations that would apply across the board. So that note was just, if we wanted to have it, I want them to refer to a footnote because it doesn't make sense to have bulk zoning changes not near a bulk zoning table, so we would just need to connect them. But as I'm reading it now, I'm actually thinking we actually just strike the whole thing. And then when they come in for the SDD, in particular situations, you have the ability to change that height.
Okay.
That's my first comment.
Questions? Ryan, I know you weren't finished to this earlier, but I think, I'm not sure if you were in the
In subcommittee.
committee, but do you have any questions about it?
Well, I actually
You're not
have, I have 2 more things and one I want to put towards it. So in the regulations, in our regulations, we have a density requirement, which is 50% on the bottom and 50% on top. That is going to no longer be able to be executed once the new text amendment is coming in. I don't believe we should put it in at all, any sort of density items now, but the question is to this commission, we allow lobbies and maybe some additional accessory uses to be put on the first floor. Do we want to say that that's permitted, but you also have to have a certain percentage of the floor area be commercial only so that they can't take up 50% of the building with a lobby and then 50% of the building with commercial uses and then have all the apartments on top? Or do you guys feel like?
I mean, why would they want to do that?
I agree with you, but I'm just saying that that is a loophole that we don't have clearly defined in here anywhere. So that's just something for you guys to discuss and put forward. And then the last item is just that I want them, we don't have a mixed use definition in our regulations. I think they should just take what's under the state statutes and we'll put it in under our definitions. But so the question of this committee is the second thing that I had. And then how do you feel about just the bulk zoning standards? We'll be silent on it as part of this section. And then you guys can adjust it as part of an SD.
This regulation is going to be moved anyway, right?
No,
First?
this will be able to stay because our Main Street Design District is not defined by zone. It's defined by being within the physical area, access to Main Street, size, and frontage. So you could have an industrial area technically in that. So it's not going to be moot in the sense of like, I think there's some residential and industrial and other properties that can apply for an SDD. So this is going to apply to the whole Main Street district, not just our commercially zoned lots. And this new text that's coming in is only going to be for B1, B2, SB2, and LOR.
Okay. So any questions for the applicant?
I mean, with the staying at 36 feet, is that still going to allow for three floors for you?
Yeah, yeah. What sometimes, and maybe it's something I consider some towns do, is that could be the height. And then if you got to put like a condenser or some sort of utilities on top, you do a 5-foot allowance for stuff like that. But the actual to the midpoint of the roof, 35 is sufficient, you know.
Yeah.
On these, you figure 10 feet, you know, per floor, maybe with a 12 on a commercial, and then it's about 9 inches between each. So we could make it work.
Most of the time that height goes up is because they want to have like 12 feet on the first floor because it's a commercial space. So does that still allocate for having?
Sure.
I mean, you're saying you don't even want to height strip it from this anyways now, and then when we come back with the SDD.
You'll tell us what you want it to be.
Okay. Yeah. I'm fine with it. I mean, it doesn't even affect anything happening.
So we're good?
So are we putting apartments in a spot that we will not be forced to by the state?
So this, in what's in front of you right now is just a text amendment allowing you the option to put apartments in a place where the state doesn't require it. But I think you have much discretion for an SDD to say no for a location that you don't feel like is appropriate. The reason that they're doing this, the property they have in mind, is actually going to be a property that is going to be allowed to be done as part of a site development plan, but they're not going to be able to do that until July. So it's April.
So she means yes.
Yes, but so it's April right now. You know, they're hoping to get done even a couple months earlier to get started to put a shovel in the ground. So that's why they're here. But as a result of this, there will be other properties that will be allowed to do that. But there's a much higher threshold for this commission to be able to approve it. And in my opinion, you have lots of ability to not have something go through. I think you still have ample control that this won't allow something to get developed in an area that you don't think is appropriate.
All right. Well, one other question, I don't think we've ever talked about this, but you know how we have 55 in older restrictions. Is there a way to do like 21 and older age restriction on a property for residential?
I think so.
I don't believe so.
Hmm.
I mean, maybe.
We leave that up to the market pretty much to determine the
Oh, we want to prevent,
landlord.
alcohol?
The landlord.
or it could be 18, just.
I know what it is. I know. Yeah, I know what it is.
The way you do that is by having one-bedroom apartments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all it's happening.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's.
So they're going to be mostly one bedroom.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing's one bedroom. I don't have 1 2-bedroom in this. It's all.
When the lease agreement, is there anything that says, you can't have 3 kids in one bedroom?
Well, I mean, if anyone does that, that's crazy. But going back to your point with the state, right? On any commercial property in the new bill, and what that speaks for itself with the bill, but whatever. You could go and buy right on a commercial property and put 9 residential units. You can build 9 4-bedroom houses. That's a tax loss on every single house for the town of Monroe. 21-bedroom apartments. I'd be shocked if you had 1 kid in there. That's maybe the most. 1 or 2. It's a tax win. Plus the commercial, obviously. So it's a lot better than the other options out there with this bill. So, I try to do the right thing with towns and help the towns financially.
I know you do a lot of this kind of work, but in your experience, have you seen that where people get a one bedroom and cram like 5 people in it?
So there's actually data on like ones that are like a blend of ones and twos, and on those, it's like not even a fifth of the units have kids, even with 2 bedrooms, 1 bedrooms. I mean, again, if there was 1 kid in that building, that would be a lot. People with kids, I mean, when are you gonna share the bedroom with the kid?
Some people are desperate, you know?
Temporarily.
Yeah, sure. Could it happen in theory? But it's unlikely.
Not schooling.
Also-
I mean, none of this is, you know, for desperate people. These are market rate apartments. It's a nice building in a nice town. You would think you're not gonna get a desperate person to rent there in theory.
Also, at the end of the day, we can't,
Yeah, you can't dictate that. Right.
A, we can't dictate it, and B, we can't vote based on,
If it's a kid.
correct.
Understood.
And the national average shows, and it's constantly said, and I still don't know why it keeps getting brought up, but the national average shows 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, minimal impact to the school system.
All right, well, let's go to the public. Any members of the public here tonight that would like to comment on this application, either for or against, please raise your hand. Anyone online that would like to comment on this application, please raise your hand. Going once, going twice.
We have someone in there.
I see your hand. Come on down. State your name and address. For the record, speak into the microphone and address the commission, please.
Margaret Lee, 26 Overlook Drive. I'm concerned about this in terms of the traffic impact again on Route 25. If you're going to have residential housing, this little building is right across, practically across the street from the dog park. And there just is no way to get out onto Route 25 in the first place from Northbrook or any of the surrounding territories. And for now to place more residential housing units in that spot, I think is just going to make it just that much more difficult. To the gentleman's point on another issue, to the gentleman's point about chances of having 1 child, more than 1 kid, even remote, excuse me, we have a rule in Northbrook that you can't have any more than 2 bedrooms. And you can't use the basement, and we've got rules and regulations to restrict, in effect, the number of people living in it, in any given unit. And let me tell you, people move in and they bring in their kids and they bring in their dogs and there's nothing you can do about it once they're in there. So to say that there will be maybe 1 kid, maybe no, there are bound to be more. And so that is part of the decision making. Now you have kids above a business and there's no way to say no. You can't. I want to tell people you can't have a kid in the building. So unless it's a specifically designed unit that specifies that by state law. So I think there are a couple of issues there. That was really my input. So for whatever it's worth, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just fill out your name and address. Is there anyone else online who would like to comment on this application? Okay, seeing none, then we'll go back to the applicant. If you have
Well, to her point then, so an HOA is able to put limitations on residency, correct?
That get ignored,
Sure.
as she just said. Yeah.
We get dogs, you're supposed to have.
So it has no teeth
No
anyway.
more than 1 dog. People come in with 2 dogs.
Well, a landlord's not going to want this person that's signing the tenants up. But they're going to, if they're going to sneak in, they're going to sneak in. It's like, I don't know what else you can do. He doesn't want it. The owner, the landlord, I mean, the supervisor's not going to want it. Nobody's going to want it, but you know what I mean?
I mean, you do have to fill out when you apply who's living in the unit, and if you're running a building and it's a 1 bedroom, and there's 2, 3 people on it, outside of a couple, you're gonna be like, well, what's going on here? And you don't have to accept it because it's a 1 bedroom apartment.
Do you have anything else that you'd like to add before we?
Well, I need the Conservation Commission to comment. They also have a meeting tonight, so they
They
weren't.
answered it, I believe. They didn't have a forum.
Do we need them to comment? They just have the ability to comment.
Yeah, they don't need to comment. They don't need to
That's
comment.
correct.
Do you guys?
I'm on the record. They do not need to
They
comment.
don't. That was when we made that. It was, they have the option to give us a letter and we do
Yes.
not hold up applicants if they can't get us a letter in time.
Correct. They do not
So
need.
that would be the only thing. All right, continue then.
Then we can close the application.
Yeah.
Let's close it.
Yeah, no.
Well, did we answer your 3 questions?
So my recommendations is going to be, let's remove the density requirement altogether. Let's remove the bulk standard height requirement in stories, and then we'll add the definition of mixed use. Those are my conditions.
Closed. We can go into deliberations now. And we will make those changes that Kathleen has just mentioned.
Am I seated, by the way?
Yes, yeah.
No.
Well, it has to be on the record.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah, Dominic.
All right, so any further discussion of this?
So obviously this is just the text amendment and then there's potentially going to be
They'll have
another project in front of us,
For the
that
MDG.
location. You know, definitely something to look at when that comes in front of us, of what benefits we can, ask for the actual road, whether it is a turn lane or something like that, because it is an area that, right, we have Dollar General there now, you have Northbrook, you have a church, so it is getting more popular.
It's DOT though. DOT is the one that has.
Yeah, but in the past, right, we had other people come in front of us with projects and say they're proposing it to DOT to potentially add a turn lane or make 25 a little wider at the area. So something we can consider, but again, not with this particular application, just the next one to come. But I'm for the
Okay,
text
anybody else have any? All right, so then shall I entertain a motion to,
Are we doing the 3 things that I had proposed?
Yes.
Getting rid of density, we're getting rid of height. We are keeping
Motion.
distribution of units. They have multifamily units shall be limited to studio, 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom apartments. Not more than 60% of the total number of multifamily units shall be limited to 2 bedrooms. 3-bedroom units shall not be permitted. That will stay for now. That's going to have to get adjusted as part of the next round of text change, but it can stay the way it's written for the moment. Okay, and when you vote on it, you have to vote on it with an effective date, and the effective date could be April 30th.
okay, do I have a motion to that?
Motion to approve RAA 2026-01 file 1050 as proposed with changes effective April 30th.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. We'll call the roll, starting on my right.
Moreno, yes.
Condon, yes.
O'Reilly, yes.
Mayne, yes.
Westland, yes.
Okay, motion passes. Congratulations. We'll see you back.
Yeah, well, thanks to you soon. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see, we have meeting minutes of April the 2nd, 2026. Before you, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as drafted.
I'll make a motion to accept the April 2nd, 2026 meetings as drafted.
Motion by Condon. Second. Second, Mayini. Any discussion? Any changes? Okay. If not, we'll call the roll, starting on my right.
Moreno, yes.
Condon, yes.
O'Reilly, yes.
Mayne, yes.
Westland, yes.
All right, minutes are accepted. Then, do you have anything, Kathleen, like to prolong the meeting with?
No.
We
Snack
need
Box
another-
actually got their zoning compliant certificate. They are doing their last, so 205 Monroe Turnpike, doing their last building inspection, so they will be open for self-storage very soon. It looks nice. The site looks nice. They did a good job. They don't have stabilization done. We'll hold their bond for that. They're gonna sod the whole thing, so it should be looking actually pretty good pretty soon.
Do we have a subcommittee set up?
Do we need another subcommittee meeting?
Probably should. I don't have any like
Applications.
potential projects right now. I'm sure we could maybe do some tech stuff.
I'm sure a project will appear.
So May 7th is our next scheduled meeting.
Yes, because there's 5 Thursdays in April. So our next meeting is actually in 3 weeks. We usually do
Mondays.
the Monday in between, like May 11th.
Oh my God, I'm free. May 11th. How's that for everyone?
Good.
May 11th, 5:30. Okay. Any commissioner reports? New staff reports, anything else, Kathleen? All right, then Chair will entertain motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Mayumi.
Second,
and Second, 7:27. We are adjourned.